Hello. Welcome back one more time to Talk Shop, where we tell it like it is and let the chips fall where they may. And as we say all the time, folks, truth crashed to earth shall rise again. And yeah, we say it a lot, but don't joke with that. No matter what, you cannot bottle the truth. You may be able to hide it for some time, but eventually, folks, take my word, truth crashed to earth shall rise again. And of course, leads me to my favorite question: what time is it? And it leads you to my favorite answer: it's nation time. It's nation time. Now, I know many of you are curious about the state of the match. Trust me, we will be doing that match. It is very important to do that match. Starting from next week, I'm going to be giving you certain arrangements for the path, for names, where to register and everything. We want a very well organized thing, and we want it to be the first ever Nation Time match. And folks, we want as many people as possible. And let me tell you, the only thing that qualifies anyone to be a part of the Nation Time match is that, Charlie, Ghana first. Please, I'd like to see all of you come there. You are from many different parties, but the only thing we'll wear that day is the flag, the colors of the Ghana flag. Okay? So it's coming. Give us a little bit of time. Somebody encouraged me, say Bukra Minko. I have listened to you very well. We are still putting things together, and I want to make sure that everybody is wearing a t-shirt on that day, and we'll be talking more about that as time goes on. Today on Nation Time, last time I promised that we're going to be talking about law and order. I told you last time that the broken society that we have, the reason why we are here, or the reason we are where we are today, is nothing than a nation that is standing in the middle of lawlessness and disorder. And there's no way you can run a nation unless you establish first law and order. And this is what I told you I was going to get into, but I also threw it out there, said, Charlie, you never know, things are dynamic. Some things may come up that may need my attention, and maybe when that happens, we will move the topic maybe to the next episode. And something has happened that really calls for Talk Shop to comment on it. It's funny enough because at the end of the day, the root cause and the bottom line is all about law and order. Folks, what has happened? Let me start first, and then as soon as I say this, you're going to know what I'm going to talk about today. I want to start by first congratulating Aremeyaw Anas. Show him some love, man. Whether you hate him, whether you love him, this man has been crusading and exposing and really doing his best, in his own words, what he can contribute to his nation. In the meantime, let me catch them from the longest time. Say, don't worry. Wherever you find people who are interested in building the nation, trust me, there are going to be those who are counter, who want to destroy the nation. And I say that all the time, that we have nation builders and we have nation wreckers, and they will always coexist. But I'm telling you today that as much as nation wreckers exist, and boy, are they strong. I'm strong, the wreckers, my goodness. As much as they are strong, I keep assuring Ghanaians that at the end of the day, when we keep our focus and we are steady, we shall overcome. And when we say Ghana will rise again, yes, Ghana will rise again. And when we say that, it doesn't mean that there will be no problems. What will be that? Say, Krobia rising and there's no problems. Whatever it is, no matter what it is, there are going to be the problems, there are going to be the obstacles, there are going to be everything. But when you look at the totality of everything, we can be proud and say, in spite of all the problems Ghana has risen again. In spite of all the problems, Ghana has risen again. And the reason I just wanted to comment very quickly today on the victory of Anas, Aremeyaw Anas, is this. It has proved what we say here all the time. The truth crashed to earth shall rise again. Anas has been vilified. Master, he has been called a terrorist by a judge.
When I sued Mr. Agyapong in 2018, despite his inability to legally substantiate his allegations, the court ruled against me, with Justice Barr scandalously branding me a terrorist.
He's been called a terrorist, he's been called a murderer, he's been called a thief, he's been called a tax evader, name it.
Mr. Agyapong, in a desperate bid to silence me, labeled me a land grabber, an extortionist, a murderer, a tax evader, and a blackmailer who ought to be hanged.
Anything negative you can think of that you can use to bash a human being has been done. So honestly, Anas actually, when he started his investigations, going back and forth, and he has touched on so many areas, at one point Anas peaked. And Anas was like, wow, if you're talking about investigative journalism, this is the angle. This man has done it. But through the actions of those who do not like that kind of progress, there was a full frontal attack on Anas. Full frontal savage attack to bring him down. So he realized that he's been low. Anas has been low. Maybe all this time he was fighting his legal battles, I don't know. But so occasionally, say Anas Pana Nihuadri. They used to say that. Especially when Nadu was coming to power and they says he's going to govern with the Anas principle.
Yeah, thank you very much. You have specifically mentioned corruption within the taxation system. What exactly will you do to stamp this out?
The measures are going to be difficult, but there have to be a variety of them, including what I call the Anas principle, setting up highly motivated professional groups of young people who will work, if you like, as it were, undercover to unearth examples of corruption wherever they can find it, and thereby allow the authority to deal with the issue. Because not only do you unearth the corruption, but you actually deal with it in terms of sending people to court, prosecuting them. Hopefully the courts will cooperate and make sure that the offenders are found guilty and sanctions appropriately enforced. So a variety of measures, but a key one is the Anas principle.
The Anas principle simply being that, Charlie, you cannot be corrupt and get away with it. And if an Anas principle, no, you cannot be corrupt, blatantly, openly corrupt, and get away with that. Anas principle is simply investigating corruption, simply making sure that the right things are done as much as possible. And so when Nadu says, when he comes into power, he's going to apply the Anas principle. It was one of the greatest news that we ever wanted to hear. But what happened? It was under the same regime that Anas felt most of his terrorized attacks, to the point that he was even branded as a terrorist. He took the same case to court about what he was trying to do, and in Ghana he lost the case. He lost the case. And it was in Ghana here that a judge described him as a terrorist.
When I sued Mr. Agyapong in 2018, despite his inability to legally substantiate his allegations, the court ruled against me, with Justice Barr scandalously branding me a terrorist instead of adjudicating the facts before him.
A blackmailer, talk about this. So Anas was quashed. But the beautiful thing about all of this was that even though he was quashed, even though seemingly I mean, he had been toned down. Seemingly, he was still working behind the scenes to prove himself right. It came as a shock to me and many to learn that his case has been tried in the U.S. They have tried the case and there were a jury of 8 people and every single member of the jury voted in his favor. That no, you were defamed based on evidence.
Mr. Agyapong, in a desperate bid to silence me, labeled me a land grabber, an extortionist, a murderer, a tax evader, and a blackmailer who ought to be hanged. These were not just lies. They were calculated attempts to destroy my credibility and put my life in danger. While Ghana's legal system failed to deliver justice in 2018, the US court upheld truth. This case was not easy. Proving defamation in the United States requires establishing actual malice by a clear and convincing evidence standard, one of the highest legal thresholds in the world. That the jury ruled 8-0 in my favor on every count is a testament to the fact that Mr. Agyapong acted with reckless disregard.
Based on evidence that they looked at, based on tapes that they listened to, based on available evidence, was a unanimous declaration of victory for Anas. That no, you were wronged.
Yesterday in the Essex County Superior Court of New Jersey, an 8-member jury delivered a unanimous verdict holding Kennedy Agyapong, former Ghanaian MP, liable for defamation and awarding damages of $18 million. The ruling is more than a legal victory. It is a profound affirmation that truth matters, that justice is not a privilege of the powerful, and that the arc of history does indeed bend towards righteousness.
There was actually a video that was played there. Let me keep quiet just for a quick second so that you watch the video that was played in court. Look at this.
A criminal like Anas, very evil guy, very, very evil. And he continues to do that even under MPP4 has showed the Anas. And so, as far back as February 2018, now we have just been in power for 1 year. Now Anas, a Cossetti, MPP ministers up. You see somebody you have to believe more than me, Kennedy Agyapong. I have all the videos. And I've given you the date, 8 February 2018. Anas, that evil boy, was setting MPP people up to disgrace them. That's how he makes his money. Or blackmailing. And he saw I'm a swelling or no akasa or make dinner come crest also or where you crop for on where is journalist or unravel corruption. Yeah, or my country. Who are winning yet, Juma? Any panel, a year within 20 minutes, maybe I'm in tape. Now, who they are called to social media or the two? Did he even say good things about Ameswali? No sympathy, nothing. And when next thing I will say, he's behind it because he wanted to divert attention. One, Abentina Asemasi, police investigation, Ukrainian course. Now, who was sending message to a congressman here? Some mimika saying, well, I don't Ghana for Magini Susasana. Ghana for Magini Susasa. A criminal like that. Now, where Nipa, one Anas, a Kumkum Chinese Pokumu. Now, me call court to me kind.
I know you need proof until honor Yam for honor to change.
Me want proof when I catch you, please. I have
fast proof for no police for honor yen fan so cry. Yeah, but say honor yen chaso until honor yen to inside.
Crash it. I think. Missing me what proof. I have all the videos of the Chinese people. What are you talking about? My court to crack can I radio so I've gone to court and stated it clearly. Why are you afraid?
Yeah, so you heard it. It was called the thief, it was called the murderer, it was called this, that. Great. But the jury said, folks, where is the evidence? And that is the thing, all of you who study law, you know better than me. Me, a lawyer. But in the courtroom, it's not what you say. It's not what you feel, folks. It's not what you allege. It's what you can prove. And I don't know. It's not what you know, Paul. Yeah, you may know all these things and be the most articulate person. You know this, you know that. But at the end of the day, trust me, sir, when you go into the courtroom there, it's not what you know. It's what you can prove. So you heard the tape and all the accusations. The jury came up and said, we are not able to prove any of this. You see, I am happy that he's got this victory. I'm happy that he got it in a country where the systems, or let me say, the judicial system works.
This victory in the US sends a powerful message. The media cannot be silenced. Truth cannot be buried. And those who wield power must be held accountable. Let this moment be a wake-up call to all who seek to erode the foundations of justice in Ghana. Let it remind us that democracy is not just about elections, but institutions that uphold the truth, courts that deliver justice without fear or favor, and citizens who refuse to accept corruption as the norm.
Massa, our judicial system has crumbled. The other time I was going by Medina police station and I don't know what, I can't tell you what happened, Wamiko police station. And in their cells there was this lady who had been thrown there. She had been in remand for months. He told me her long story and a lawyer and everything. I even took the name of the lawyer and called them. And when I actually went to visit the lawyer, I could tell, say, he didn't have any passion for the case. Oh, no, I mean, it was flimsy. But generally, what I'm talking about that is our police stations are packed with hundreds of people who are on remand. And according to our law, you cannot even hold anybody in prison, the cells, for more than 48 hours. You can't hold the person when you have not charged them. Oh, please, go to Ghana. Lawlessness not making any new. If you like, take a time and just visit prison to prison to prison and look at the people in the cells. And I tell you, you'll find that in every cell, there are several people languishing on remand. Even in the prisons, there are people in prisons now people who have been sent to prison. It's not that any court has declared them guilty or anything, but they were remanded. They are the one who go to prison. There are several who have not seen any trial. But this is a country of lawyers. This is a country of law and order. This is a country where every year the Ghana Bar Association has their own anniversary and they're very, very strong. Please, can you reconcile that with a nation that has a Ghana Bar Association, strong lawyers and strong advocates and everything, and in that same nation, thousands of people are on remand, they haven't been tried, they are just flying under the radar detection of the judicial system. So what are we talking about here? Master, that's why every time I'm making a show now, I say, don't remain Mahama. If you have come and you say you're going to reset the Ajuma also. Because the whole judicial system needs resetting. The power of the executive always has a way of dominating the judiciary. I remember as far back as, oh God, I don't remember the year, sometime in the 60s after the CPP was overthrown, and I think at some point Ghana was under the Progress Party under Professor K. Buzia, and they had dismissed 568 civil servants. And the reason was that they were all affiliated to the CPP. So anyway, I started, NDC bar near Bepam MPP for MPP one near Bepam NDC for. And yet, it's not a recent phenomenon. I'm talking about 60s, 68 was now maybe. There was what we call the Apollo 568. That was what they called it, Apollo 568. When 568 people were just sacked from the offices because they had affiliations with the CPP. And back in that time, with the Nwomo, that was when the US started going to the space, and they had Apollo 1, Apollo 2, Apollo 3. So Apollo became a very good term or expression. So when all of them were fired, they said all of them were in the Apollo 568. Now I'm saying this, but the people that were fired, there was one guy called Salah. I think it was E.K. Salah. E.K. Salah went to court that his dismissal was not constitutional. So he took the case to court. E.K. Salah won the case. I'm going to check him on Google and your things and go and check the history. E.K. Salah won the case. And what did the Prime Minister say? The Prime Minister was one of the most astute intellectuals we had. One of the most, what we call, I don't know, loud people when it came to democracy. Professor K. Buzia, after the court had ruled that Salah was fired and his dismissal was not constitutional, Buzia came on television and he said, no court, and I repeat, no court can reinstate Salah. Free. But no court, and he said it twice. Or say, I repeat, no court can reinstate Salah. Most of you do not know what I'm talking about. But in Kokrati seminar, Paul Salah case, they'll remember. And it was called the famous no court proclamation. But I'm saying this domineering executive powers over judiciary, it's the same thing that trickled down. And when a friend is saying Nanado, His Excellency Nanado, the former president, filled the Supreme Court with so many of his, if you will, favorites. In Africa, master, things are different. Look, in US, the Supreme Court, some of them lawyers that, what the friend is saying, Trump put in power are fighting him. He put them in the Supreme Court. Trump, some of them are fighting him. Of late, there's one Supreme Court that is actually blocking attempts by Trump to change the legislation. He was employed by Trump. But guess what? He's in the Supreme Court. So he's thinking independently now. Yes, so now let me buy you, but you didn't bring me here to come and, if you will, kiss your ass. You brought me here to protect the law and constitution of the United States of America, and that is what I'm doing. And with all respect, sir, even if you are doing things that I believe are not constitutional, it is my duty to talk. We don't have that many in Ghana with that kind of vim who will be bold enough to do the right thing. Why will a judge label Anas as a terrorist?
When I sued Mr. Agyapong in 2018, despite his inability to legally substantiate his allegations, the court ruled against me, with Justice Barr scandalously branding me a terrorist.
Judge now is so independent, no? You take such a biased stand and decision, say, "Oh, a terrorist." And why would the same case be taken to the US and Anas wins the case? Is it because he's an American guy? It was about the law. And he won it 8-0. What were the scores in Ghana? 8-0. Unanimous deciding, said no, Anas has been wronged.
While Ghana's legal system failed to deliver justice in 2018, the US court upheld truth. That the jury ruled 8-0 in my favor on every count is a testament to the fact that Mr. Agyapong acted with reckless disregard.
Folks, look, the judiciary is such an integral part of this so-called democracy we say we want. Say, if there's somebody on the judiciary that is not fit to think independently, they do not belong there. I'm telling you. I mean, you can't have a situation where as head of state or as president, and this is a general statement talking about everybody who is ever a president, saying, I'm the president, so I'm employing people to staff in the Supreme Court so that they act on my behalf. That is wrong. That basis is wrong. And if it got to a time where people were joking about the Ghana Judiciary as the unanimous FC, say, assembly, they would think one way and they always, it is not right. I'm just so happy that the US has given a slight example of what the blind lady of justice, what she is, man. The sword cuts both ways, not one way.
Yesterday in the Essex County Superior Court of New Jersey, an 8-member jury delivered a unanimous verdict holding Kennedy Agyapong, former Ghanaian MP, liable for defamation and awarding damages of $18 million. The ruling is more than a legal victory. It is a profound affirmation that truth matters, that justice is not a privilege of the powerful, and that the arc of history does indeed bend towards righteousness.
So, as a matter of fact, all this goes down to what we talked about, or what I say I'll be talking about when I say Ghana has now become torn. And we have declared ourselves neutral between lawlessness and disorder. This is what we get. And the most dangerous place to be affected is the judiciary. Look, judiciary, Pacho Mutimi, lawyer for, we count on you. You are the bastion of democracy. You are the bastion of our freedom. If anything at all, we are coming to you to protect us, to give us our freedoms. So clearly, when moye wishy-washy, and when you can't be trusted, it is dangerous to this nation. Because when you get to the point where the people do not trust the judiciary, what happens? They start taking the law into their own hands. Why? When I say we do the court cry, I say we the court, and that affects the morale of the whole nation when the judiciary is diminished to the extent that they lose the respect of the people. So this is what I want to say today, Mo, that President Mahama, whatever you do to reset this country, I told you the other time, it starts with law and order. Start with law and order. And please, judiciary, understand this. Ghana Bar Association, it's not a privileged position that oh, now me a lawyer. No, me a Ghana Bar Association. No, it's a point where you take the interpretations of law, freedom, and justice to heart and work with it. Please, I beg. I don't know. I would like to find out, as the Bar Association, what is your impression that this case was tried in Ghana and it went this way, and it went to the US and it went that way? Was the US wrong? Or were we wrong in Ghana? You know, there's lawlessness. And somehow that lawlessness has fed into this belief in Ghana that democracy means say any nonsense that you want and say it for free. Ghana, a democracy, no. Have you actually heard the translation of democracy in Tree? Kabina min kabi. Kabina min kabi. You say yours, I'll say mine. It's about the wukano nyasa daho. Wahu emrena wutuno ubetimi achire esia utu woso. Nti wonka bi keke wo wuka with nyansa. It's not about say it and let me say some. It's about let me say some and you say it, but say with intelligence, say with proof. Who did I hear on radio there recently? What I think what is Aremeyaw Anas says publicly on radio, if anything happens to me, if I die, you should arrest Mahama because he's responsible. What the hell?
Minya safe under Mahama. Minya safe under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. As a second Ghana for but minya safe.
I don't receive threat messages, and I
minya safe under Mahama trade minya safe. The opposite the be a man crop for no more. Me fahana man for some be a metramo.
107.3.
Eba eyomo kwan no pe. Memorial Kratia eye Mahama and ama memorial bibi tomia eyomo.
What the hell? And that's it. Is that the democracy? Folks, can I go and me KSM SHOW, then I'm sitting on CTFM or Joy FM and I name some government name, Mahama. If anything happens to me, go and arrest Mahama. If I die, this is silly. Folks, look, let's not destroy this privilege we have to be able to speak intelligently. That privilege of able to speak intelligently comes with responsibilities. You can't share the responsibility and just speak, say, your freedom. How do you even say this? You know? But in Ghana, that's our democracy. Does Mahama have the readers to take this to court? Or the court says, when I say where the assembly ending, we need to whatever, I don't know. But chances are here. And so I'm saying that unless people are held accountable and responsible for what they say, Aremeyaw, please prove, show the documents, show the evidence that Mahama has sent people to come after you. Mahama wants to kill you. There must be some evidence you have. Say, is it a phone call evidence? Is it somebody threatening you? Is that what kind of evidence? Aremeyaw, Mepacho, respectively, show the evidence that the president of Ghana country is looking for you to kill you. That's what you have said. And so when you die, we should go and hold the president responsible. You can't say this like this and just go off. You know, so in a system where you have law and order, when you say this, prove it. If not, then let the court take a decision and fine you. You see the Kennedy Agyapong wrapped in the court and he has done this and done this. $80 million in Of course, it's a legal system. He has the right to now appeal, and the appeal process can take another 3 or 4 years, whatever it is. But the bottom line is, if there is a consequence for loose talk, maybe you will be guided a bit, but there's no consequence. You can lie. And that's the basis of gendarme anyway. The basis of gendarme is come up with a lie and lie. And where is this lie taking place? In the media. No consequences. So please, as we advocate for a country guided by law, not lawlessness, and a country disciplined, let us as citizens ourselves also step up and realize that once you open your mouth and say things, either you're ready to back it with evidence or pay the fine for it. Folks, today this is all I wanted to talk about. I think we'll go back and do a main show on how Ghana has declared itself neutral between lawlessness and disorder. Until then, let me salute all of you and say, until we come back again, this country will rise again.